In the early years of Arda, before the awakening of elves and men, the Valar, 14 powerful Ainur who descended from the timeless halls, helped shape the world and defend it from the corruption of Melkor, a fellow Ainur who stood apart from the others and sought kingship in defiance of the will of their creator. Yet Melkor did not stand alone, as he had turned a number of Maiar, lesser Ainur who had entered the world alongside the Valar, but now fought against them as servants of the Dark Lord. Some of these Maiar became known as the Valaraukar, or Balrogs, large creatures of flame and shadow with streaming fiery manes who carried whips of fire and roughly resembled the form of men. However, it is uncertain exactly how many Balrogs existed, as conflicting accounts estimate anywhere from 3 or 7 to dozens, if not hundreds or thousands. After Melkor broke the 2 lamps of Arda and the land fractured into continents, the Valar came to reign in Valinor upon Aman, while Melkor reigned in Middle-earth from the fortress of Autumno. There the Balrogs served their master, his will unchecked upon the eastern lands. Among the fiery creatures, Gothmog was raised as captain of the Balrogs, and lieutenant of the Dark Lord, equal in power only to Sauron, another powerful Maya who came to serve Melkor. But then came the awakening of the elves in Cuiviénen, and with them the war for sake of the elves, where the Valar fought the Dark Lord to protect the children of Iluvatar from his corrupting influence. And while Melkor's forces fought viciously to protect their master, they were ultimately defeated, with the Dark Lord chained and taken to Valinor. The Balrogs who survived the war retreated to the fortress of Angband, and there remained in its dark depths, awaiting the return of their master. Melkor was imprisoned in the halls of Mandos for 3 ages, but was eventually released by his brother Manwë, who believed him reformed. Yet the Dark Lord was only feigning repentance, soon allying with the Ungoliant to destroy the 2 trees of Valinor, then traveling north to Formenos, killing the Noldor elf Finwë, and stealing the Silmaril jewels crafted by Finwë's son Feanor before escaping into Middle-earth. However, when they reached the eastern continent, Ungoliant demanded the Dark Lord give up the 3 Silmarils to satiate her hunger, then attacking when he refused, causing him to yell out in pain as they neared Angband. Upon hearing their master's voice, the Balrogs awoke from their slumber and charged out to protect him, chasing Ungoliant away. The Dark Lord, now known as Morgoth to the elves of the west, immediately began rebuilding his armies and defenses to fight the War of Great Jewels, which saw the Noldor elves following Feanor and his brother Fingolfin make their way into Middle-earth, chasing their enemy to destroy him and take back the precious Silmarils. After engaging the local Sindarin elves in the first battle of Beleriand, Morgoth's forces were defeated at Dagor Nuin Gileath when the Noldor elves following Feanor arrived in the northwest of the continent and sought to establish a settlement. Yet Feanor was consumed with rage as he fought against them, continuing to press the attack after their victory, charging all the way to Angband, where he was surrounded and killed by Gothmog and his Balrogs. The forces of Morgoth continued to wreak havoc on the elves of Middle-earth and their allies, with the Valaraukar participating in the capture of Feanor's eldest son, Maedhros, and at the Dagor Nirnaeth Arnoediad, killed Fingon, eldest son of Fingolfin, then seizing the human warrior Húrin for torture and interrogation. In the year 510 of the First Age, the armies of the Dark Lord attacked the elven city of Gondolin, seeing Balrogs ride upon the backs of dragons pouring into the city and killing everything in their path. In the great battle that erupted, the Noldor elf Ecthelion, lord of the House of the Fountain, engaged Gothmog, killing him, though at a cost of his own life. Then seeing Glorfindel, lord of the House of the Golden Flower, making a similar sacrifice, casting a Balrog off a cliff but falling with him to his death. Although the elves fought valiantly and some managed to escape the slaughter, they were ultimately defeated and the city lost. The armies of the Dark Lord continued on until their final defeat in the War of Wrath, when Morgoth at last was banished from the world, seeing his forces scattered or destroyed. The Balrogs who survived the fall of their master then retreated into the depths of Middle-earth, and as the years went on, were mostly forgotten, becoming legends from an earlier age. And while the Balrogs did not return to serve Sauron as the second Dark Lord, it is possible he was at least aware of the Balrog in Moria, who was awakened after the dwarves of Durin's folk mined too deeply into the Misty Mountains, waking the creature and releasing it into Khazad-dûm. The horrifying beast, last known Balrog of Morgoth, killed King Durin VI, earning the nickname Durinsbane, then wiping out the Dwarven kingdom, forcing them from their ancestral home. Sauron's orc armies then began to populate the area, suggesting a possible relationship between the Dark Lord and the creature of flame, though any specific connection between them cannot be certain. At the end of the War of the Dwarves and Orcs, the united armies of the Dwarven clans had a chance to retake Moria, but chose not to continue on after Dane Ironfoot II made it clear they could not defeat Durinsbane. And when the dwarf Balin led an army into the mountains many years later, finally making the attempt to reconquer their homeland, they were ultimately defeated and killed. And so, it would not be until the Fellowship of the Ring passed through the mountains during their quest to destroy the One Ring of Power that the Balrog in Moria was finally cast down, engaging the wizard Gandalf the Grey in an epic battle, ending with the creature's death and the wizard's rebirth as Gandalf the White. A special thanks to all those who contribute to CivilizationEx, like Hand of the X, Archthane Uriel of Realm Dunatar, known to history as the Flame of God, Sir Daeron of House Ashford, Warden of Secrets and Coin, Protector of Gulltown, and Lord of the X, Johnny Frostbite Rice of the Company of the Rose, Tallmaester Damien the Drunk Librarian, Budhag the Fair, and Nesha the Flame Bearer. You all make these videos possible, and I am eternally grateful for your support. If you would like to help CivilizationEx and gain early access to videos, access to the Patreon-only series, Heroes of Lore and Legend, and vote on future content to be produced, click on the Patreon link and pledge any amount you'd like on a monthly basis. Or if you'd prefer to make a single donation, you can use the PayPal link in the description below. And please be sure to like and subscribe and click on the links to see more.